Hey y'all, it's Monday morning and we are starting our week, and I always like to try to start off my week by being somewhat organized, which is a little easier because we've got a little more time on our hands than we usually do. So my friend Terry asked me if I might pull together a list of the top, I narrowed it down to 10 items that I like to keep on hand so that I can whip up something fast and tasty and nutritious at a moment's notice, and to minimize the number of trips that I'm taking to the store right now, especially during these crazy COVID times. So here's my top 10, and I divided it into 5 from the fridge and 5 from my pantry. So we'll start with the fridge and then we'll move on. So the first thing that I always have on hand is some kind of cheese. This happens to be Parmesan, and I do use this a lot, but I also usually have a good stanky blue cheese on hand. I happen to like that, not everyone does, and usually a chèvre. All hail the goat. Thank you to the goats for that. You can use it in all kinds of things. I won't go into all of those things right now, but having a good cheese on hand is something that can pull a meal together really quickly and make it a little more special than just pasta and sauce. If you put this on top, you take it to a whole new level. Another note about cheese, I tend to buy it in a block and grate it myself at home. And yes, that's an extra step, but a block of cheese is going to keep in your fridge longer and better than shredded cheese that you buy pre-shredded. Not only that, they put some weird stuff in pre-shredded cheese to keep it from clumping up. And so in terms of texture and flavor, you're better off just grating it yourself. Cheese. The next thing is this little lady. This may be the hardest working thing that I have in my fridge. This is the perfect delivery device for all of the produce that is pouting away in your refrigerator. I usually have at least 2 cartons of eggs going at any given time in my fridge. 1 fresh and 1 hard boiled. I suggest that you label which carton is which so nobody gets any surprises. Eggs, high quality protein, fills you up with good stuff. Next, I have Greek yogurt. I don't know if you can see that very well. There's Greek yogurt in there. Plain Greek style yogurt. I use this not only for breakfast, drizzle a little honey, put some berries and some chopped nuts on it. It's a fantastic breakfast. But also, I use this in place of sour cream for almost any application. Dips, to top a baked potato, all kinds of things. So this is something that you can have on hand that is going to elevate all kinds of things at the drop of a hat. Remember that Greek style yogurt comes in 3 variations. There is non-fat, 0%, there's 2%, and there's 5% milk fat. Not surprisingly, the 5% really has the best texture and flavor in my opinion. But you can choose based on what your dietary needs might be. So Greek yogurt, can't go wrong. Okay, this next item may seem a little strange, but something that I seem to go to, and that's what I based this list on. What do I go to most often? Are Greek olives, Kalamata olives. I keep these on hand, I chop them up, I put them in pasta sauces, I put them on salads. You can also just have these bad boys out on a charcuterie board to feed your hungry people when you're not feeling like cooking at all. It adds a lot of flavor to things, that briny, earthy flavor, and it's got a really long fridge life, so you'll have these whenever you need them. So Greek olives, Kalamata olives. The last thing really kind of bridges over into fresh foods, and I wanted to kind of stay away from produce and meats and talk about all of the accessories, if you want to think of it that way, but it really is something that I always seem to have in my fridge, and that is some kind of salad green, which I love to have. I park chicken salad on top of this, tuna salad, egg salad, and then of course make all kinds of green salads to dress up any of your meats or other main dishes that you have going on. Now, I will say this, something that's even more versatile than spring greens is a bag of baby spinach. You can use it in a million different ways. You can sneak veggies into your hungry people's diet, and you feel good about doing it. And it keeps pretty well in the fridge, so I tend to motor through it pretty quickly without it going bad. So some kind of greens. So there's our fridge list of 5. And we'll move on to what I have in my pantry at any given time. So the first set of things I want to talk about are your starches. Rice. We all know how versatile it is. I like basmati rice. It smells heavenly when you're cooking it. Really versatile. Pasta, of course. I could eat this all day, every day, all shapes, all sizes. Fantastic. But the one I want to focus on is something that I use all the time, and that is couscous, which really, they're just tiny little balls of pasta. But the great thing about this is that it is ready in 5 minutes. You pour boiling water from your electric kettle on this, let it sit covered for 5 minutes, and you have got a side faster than you can boil water or make rice for sure. So couscous is something that I use often for salads or to use as a bed for grilled veggies, all kinds of great things. So if you don't have this in your pantry, you might want to give it a try. Okay, these two go together. And I always have good olive oil. I also tend to have just regular vegetable oil for other applications on hand, but good olive oil and vinegar. And I have several different kinds. This is red wine. I use it a lot to make vinaigrette. I also have a rice wine vinegar and an apple cider vinegar that I use fairly often. But these two are a staple in my pantry. Use them almost every day. The next thing I want to show you, and Trader Joe does not know me. None of these people with brands on them, they don't know me. I'm not endorsing anybody. This is just stuff that I happen to like. This is my favorite seasoning, hands down. I mean, besides salt and pepper. It's Trader Joe's onion salt, but it really has a good dose of garlic in it as well. So it's kind of a hybrid of onion salt and garlic salt all in one. I use it on almost everything. There's very little in this world that onion salt could not improve. Onion salt. Next, I have nuts on hand. At any given moment, I'm looking in my pantry, I've got almonds, I've got pecans, I've got some cashews in there, and I've got some walnuts. So they're a great thing to sprinkle in salads. They are fantastic on top of your Greek yogurt for breakfast in the morning, or for a snack. And actually, these are just really great snacking. I know they're full of fat, but it's the good kind. And full of fiber, all kinds of great stuff that is good for you, and you can pronounce all the ingredients that are in these. So I like to keep a lot of nuts on hand. The last thing I want to show you is canned tomatoes. I love a good tomato out of the garden, but they're kind of hard to come by, especially other times of year. So this is something I like to keep on hand when I want something tomato-based. And I want to know exactly what I am putting into my body. Because guess what is in here, y'all? Tomatoes. That's it. There's nothing else in here. No salt, no sugar, no weird stuff from outer space that you can't pronounce. This makes a fantastic pasta sauce with just a little garlic and onion. If you add your Greek olives, you can make a really great puttanesca sauce. Add some ground meat of your choice, and you've got a bolognese. So it's multi-purpose. It makes a great tomato basil soup at the drop of a hat. Just add a little chicken stock and some basil, and you're good to go. So having these on hand is a great way to be able to pull things out of your pantry quickly, and really you don't even need produce to make a great meal when you've got these on hand. So those are the top 5 things, and I cheated a little bit by putting a couple of things together here, but those are the top 5 pantry items that I like to keep on hand. And I'm going to cheat a little bit again and show you one last thing. I'm going to flip you around here. Actually, I'm just going to take you. And that is my herb garden. Those are my herbs. I like to keep those on my windowsill. They're usually pretty happy. Isn't that the craziest looking rosemary you've ever seen? I love her. I have thyme, basil, oregano, rosemary. I've got a little mint over there that's fresh mint. But those are another thing, like your cheese, they can elevate almost anything. Lickety split. And really enjoy having them around. It gives me something pretty to look at on my windowsill too. So I'm an urban farmer, y'all. So anyway, those are the things that I like to keep on hand. I like to think of them in terms of a capsule wardrobe, right? And then you just add fresh foods, meats and fresh produce as your accessories to pull a meal together really quickly. Now my list is going to be different than your list, of course. These are the things that appeal to my palate. Your hungry people probably have some things that they would prefer over some of this stuff. And my hope is not that you replicate my list, but that you think about what would appeal to your hungry people and what would work for your family so that you can pull things together that are tasty and nutritious really easily with minimal effort. So I hope that you are well. I hope that you eat well. I hope that you love each other. And Terry, thanks for asking. This was a good question to get me thinking about what I'm gonna do for dinner this week and lunch and breakfast because we're all eating at home right now. All right, y'all have a good Monday. Bon appetit, y'all.